Front page news in the Oklahoman today, a story a lot of people have talked about. Blue Cross Integris on the health side of things have reached their deal, joined by Meg Wingeter, who covers the health angle for the Oklahoman. You know, Meg, had dinner with my mom a couple weeks ago. She's like, hey, Dave, what do you hear about Integris Blue Cross? Because, you know, she has a few doctor's visits. Speak with some of our colleagues in the newsroom. Some of them are young parents. You know, they have to take the kiddos in.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, how is this going to affect me coming up? It's something that really touches a lot of people. Health.
Definitely.
Something that affects everybody, but these are two big players here in Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
What do we know about the agreement, and could we wind up in this situation again?
Well, this agreement is for 2 years, so can't say what'll happen
Sure.
2 years down the road, but it at least buys people stability for a while. This agreement is with the hospitals and also with about 600 physicians who are employed by them. Now, there are still some physicians who work at Integris but aren't employed, so they could not be in network, but it does confirm that for a good portion of those who are at Integris that they'll be in network. So people with Blue Cross insurance won't have to pay those higher out-of-network rates if they go to those hospitals or the covered doctors. It's probably still a good idea before you go to a provider to check that they're in network, just so you don't get a surprise, though.
And that's always been the case, right?
Mm-hmm.
Make sure that it's covered before you get that surprise and like, hey, pay $750. And you're like,
Exactly.
Where'd that come from?
Yes.
I believe this contract was scheduled to end this Friday. So
It was.
This came to towards the end. What was the dispute about?
Well, they were pretty much in agreement on rates from what we heard from both sides, but it came down to some language that Integris thought was restrictive. One of the provisions was Blue Cross wanted all physicians working at Integris to be in their network. Their argument was that way we're, sparing our customers from any of those surprise bills, which can be a big issue, say in an emergency situation, because if you're having a heart attack, you're probably not asking the doctor.
Could I get a better rate on that, please?
Yeah,
right.
Exactly. So, but on the other hand, Integris argues our doctors want to be able to make their own arrangements. We shouldn't have to force them to contract with an insurer if they don't like that insurer's rates or the way they handle claims. So
I'm guessing this is an issue that is probably happening nationwide, perhaps globally, within the health industry as it sort of shifts. Both sides claiming victory on this deal. Both sides seem to be happy from what you're hearing at this point.
They seem to be satisfied. It really probably wasn't in anybody's best interest for them to not reach a deal. So patients would have to find new providers or else pay more. Integris would lose patients because some of them would decide to go to a different hospital to avoid paying the rates, and Blue Cross also could, for people who have some choice of their insurance, who don't just get one plan through work, might decide they want to go to a different plan because it's very important for them, for example, to have the transplant center at Integris covered. So ultimately this probably works out for everybody.
It's a story Meg has front cover of Business Today. Integris Blue Cross reached a deal before the Friday deadline. Be sure to pick up your newspaper at your driveways, your newsstands, or go online to newsok.com. You spoke with a family as an example of how that dispute was affecting people.
Yes, this family was in a real tough position. The mother had a cesarean delivery that was scheduled to be done Saturday, which would be one day after.
As it times out, great.
Yes. So she was looking at, well, you can't just find a new OBGYN within a few days of giving birth, and you don't necessarily want to move a delivery up earlier. That's not ideal. So they were looking at, well, we're not going to know if this delivery is covered, and we may end up paying thousands out of pocket that we hadn't budgeted for. So for families like that, it's quite a relief to know this is going to be stable, at least for a while.
Interesting stuff. Integris and Blue Cross reaching their deal. She's Meg Wingeter, covers health for the Oklahoman and newsok.com. Be sure to follow her coverage. Meg, good job. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.